Stella Tennant, the aristocrat turned supermodel who changed fashion forever. Hi everyone, I'm your host, welcome to my channel. And today we're going to be taking a look at the iconic life of the one and only Stella Tennant. To do this, we will be using some black and white photographs throughout the video to really pay homage to this icon. So let's get right into it. Opening with a montage of Stella's most iconic looks down the years, including those from Alexander McQueen, Miu Miu, and Yves Saint Laurent, interspersed with shots of her beautiful children. Our narrator, possibly Stella herself, will take us through each period of her extraordinary life. She will talk about how her upbringing in relative wealth in Scotland set her up for a future in high fashion, but also how her sense of mischief and dry wit would lead her to become one of the most unconventional models of all time. Here we see shots of Stella as a child, growing up on her family's estate in Scotland. We are told that she is the granddaughter of the Duke and Duchess of Devonshire, which means that Stella is a direct descendant of King Charles's great-great-grandfather. Yet another fascinating link between the British monarchy and the world of modeling, something we've explored quite extensively on this channel before. We see shots of Stella enjoying her childhood on the estate and taking part in country pursuits such as riding and hunting. These are all very stereotypical of the British aristocracy, but they could not be further from the truth when it comes to Stella's character. Although born into privilege, Stella was described by many who knew her as a real tomboy who preferred hanging out with boys and playing football than attending to her appearance. It was only when she was 16 years old that her mother suggested she should go to London and have some professional photos taken. As she did this, her mother also enrolled her into a modeling class to help boost her confidence. Stella didn't know it yet, but these photos would change her life forever. Now we come to one of the biggest mysteries surrounding Stella's early life, the famous nose ring. We hear that after seeing her pictures, a friend of hers decided to book her a flight to Paris so that she could meet with a buyer for British Vogue. On the day of her flight, she was waiting in the departure lounge when she had a sudden panic attack. In order to calm herself down, she went to the duty-free shop and bought a silver nose ring and pierced her own nose. This quirky addition to her face would become one of the hallmarks of her modeling career and even appear in her first ever professional photo shoot for British Vogue. The shoot went well, and Stella soon had another one with the magazine. But it wasn't until 1993 that she appeared on the cover of the September issue shot by the legendary Patrick de Marchelier. Throughout this period, Stella was still studying art history at university, and she continued to experiment with her appearance, including dyeing her hair bright red. It was during this time that Karl Lagerfeld, then creative director of Chanel, spotted her in the pages of British Vogue and immediately took notice of her unique look. In the spring of 1994, Karl invited Stella to Paris to be the face of Chanel's new fall campaign. Overnight, Stella went from being an unknown art student to one of the most recognizable faces on the planet. Lagerfeld made her his muse, often inviting her to view his collections backstage and even dressing her in vintage Chanel pieces. This is highlighted in the documentary series Unzipped, where we see Karl rushing around backstage trying to find Stella just moments before he sends his models out on the runway. He can't find her, so he ends up wearing one of her trademark jumpers himself. He really loved her. Over the next few seasons, we see Stella front and center at every major fashion show, including Yves Saint Laurent, Miu Miu, and Isaac Mizrahi. She was quickly snapped up by every major brand and became one of the most in-demand models of the 1990s. We now see shots of Stella in various campaigns over the years. But what really made her stand out from the other glamazons of the time like Naomi Campbell, Kate Moss, or Linda Evangelista? Firstly, her aristocratic air and aloof manner set her apart from the others. She was very much the ice queen and had an elegance that could only be acquired through generations of wealth and culture. Secondly, she was comfortable in her own skin and never tried too hard. She allowed her natural beauty to shine through without excessive makeup or fake eyelashes. And finally, she wasn't afraid to break the rules. In an industry obsessed with thinness, she would happily indulge in a good meal. And when she was offered cocaine, as many models have detailed in their autobiographies, she replied that she'd rather have a scotch. We now see Stella walking the runway in Paris and Milan, captivating audiences with her cool, aloof demeanor. One of the biggest shocks she caused was when she walked the 1996 Chanel Couture show completely makeup-free, a move which shocked the traditional haute couture audience and cemented her status as a true rebel. We see shots of her backstage with other models having fun and generally getting up to mischief. Backstage at a fashion show is often seen as a stressful environment, but here we can see that Stella made friends easily and was always laughing and joking around. It was around this time that Stella met French photographer David Lasnet. They married, and she moved back to her husband's homeland of France. However, she soon got homesick, and they relocated back to Scotland, where they brought up their 4 children, 3 boys, and a girl. Although she was living a more quiet life away from the public eye, she still occasionally graced the runway for brands like Chanel and Burberry. In 2000, Stella and David moved back to Paris. Here we see images of her at home in France and Scotland with her children, highlighting the fact that despite her fame and fortune, she really valued her privacy and the time she spent with her family. At this point, she decided to scale back on her modeling work to focus on being a full-time mother. The next decade sees Stella appearing in the occasional ad campaign, including one for the Italian brand Blue Marine and another for H&M. We now come to one of the biggest comebacks in modeling history. After a 6-year hiatus, Stella makes a stunning return to the runway in 2010 when she opens the Chanel Haute Couture Spring-Summer Show. Over the next few years, she becomes a regular at Paris Fashion Week, captivating audiences once again with her timeless elegance. We see clips of her dancing at a party hosted by Karl Lagerfeld, underlining just how close the two were. Stella features frequently in British Vogue over the years, and in 2013 she lands the cover of the September issue once again. This is shot by Mario Testino and is titled Stella Tennant, the Timeless Rebel. This really sums up the essence of Stella's character and how she never conformed to the industry's expectations. Throughout the video, we see glimpses of Stella's artwork, including sculptures and sketches. This is used to highlight the fact that although she found international acclaim as a model, her true passion lay in art. In fact, if she hadn't been discovered by chance, it's highly likely that she would have gone on to become a successful sculptor. Stella tragically passed away in December of 2020 at the age of 50. Her death was announced by her agency, the Society Group, but no details were given. She is survived by her husband and 4 children. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please show your support, and I will see you next time.